Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Sarah here with FurnitureFlipBySarah, and in today's video I am participating in the Ugly Duckling challenge. So this challenge is hosted by Cory. I will link her Instagram here and down below in the description. There is a bunch of other YouTubers that are participating in this challenge. We are taking an ugly duckling piece and turning it into a beautiful swan. If you have been following for a little while, you may have realized I haven't posted a video in a bit, and that is because I am currently 7 months pregnant. So I did unintentionally take a little break from YouTube, but I am back and I am so excited to be sharing today's makeover with you guys. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first step I'm going to do is slightly sand this piece down. It has been refinished before, so it was fully sanded, but I just want to take off some of the gunk that's on here and make sure it's super smooth before I start priming. Now I'm just going to go in and use some thread cutter to really give this piece a good clean. I'm just using a microfiber cloth to clean it with. To prime the dresser, I'm going to be using the Bin shellac base primer. This is by far my favorite stuff to use, and I will be using my mask. To apply the primer, I'm just using a microfiber roller and a little brush from the dollar store. So now that the primer has dried for 24 hours, I'm going to take this little sanding sponge. You can actually wet these. I'm just using it dry right now just to smooth out my primer, and then I will clean it down with some water before I start painting. I'm just using a microfiber cloth to wipe this down. So as you can see, I just taped off the legs. I'm going to keep the gray as long as it looks good with the overall look I am going for. We're going to try to keep that. I just used some yellow frog tape. This is by far my favorite painter's tape. Just to make sure when you're using it, make sure to really press down and create a really solid seal on the line so your paint does not drip through. So since this is a fall challenge, I've pulled some colors from my paint supply that I really think represent fall. I'm not going for that really traditional kind of pumpkin orange, but I am going with some more neutral fall colors. So for me, I like to take colors from nature and like use some darker colors. So I have, for the base of this piece, a dark dark gray called Cheating Heart by Benjamin Moore. This is going to be the base of my dresser. And then I want to incorporate a nice green. So I'm going to be using the Crushing Green by Benjamin Moore. And then I have more of a neutral kind of tan fall leaf. And this is Alexander Beige by Benjamin Moore. And then I am using just a soft neutral. It's a little bit creamier in person. You'll probably see once it's on the dresser. And I'm not too sure how to say that one there, but that's the color I'm going to be using. So to start, I'm going to be painting the base of this dresser in Cheating Heart. And this is in a pearl finish. I like to set up my paint tray. I just have this reusable one from Home Hardware. It is their Beauty Tone brand. And I like to just use tin foil to line it. You could buy plastic liners, but I find this to just be more efficient. I shape it to the size. And then I'm ready to go. I'm going to be using a microfiber roller. These are by far my favorite rollers. I will link them down below for you guys. I believe this is the 5mm. Then I'm going to be using my Purdy brush. You can see this one's got a lot of use. And this is their extra large Glide. I believe this is a 1.5 inch brush. So I'm not going to pour too much just because I would rather not waste any paint. I can always add a bit more, but you don't really need a lot with this paint. This stuff goes a long way. And again, I'm using the Benjamin Moore Advanced line. It's made for cabinetry and furniture. It's a really nice, good quality paint. To start out, I'm going to make sure I really soak my roller into the paint. This is going to help avoid any roller marks. You want to make sure your roller is super saturated. So to start out, I'm just going to take my brush along the edges where the roller can't get to. So I'm just going to do the top and the bottom down here. And then take my roller and start rolling the paint on, going right over where I just brushed to make sure it's really smooth. By using a roller with this paint versus a paintbrush, you're going to avoid a lot of those brush strokes. And I like to apply this paint in thin, even coats, allowing for it to really dry and flatten out. This paint does have some self-leveling properties in it, so if you were to apply too much paint, it would be harder for it to work the way it's supposed to. So by doing thinner coats, you're allowing it to really level itself out and give you that flawless factory finish look. Now I'm going to continue this method for the rest of the piece. So I'm now going to be working on the drawer fronts. I'm going to start out with Crushing Green by Benjamin Moore. Just a beautiful green tone, and you do have to remember it does dry a little bit darker, so don't be scared when you're working with certain colors, they will dry darker. Time for coat number 2. So I ended up getting 3 coats of paint on all of the drawers. I have Cushing Green by Benjamin Moore. I have, I believe, Alexander Beige by Benjamin Moore as well. And then we have this off creamy white. I'll put the name of it on the screen. And then I kept this drawer stained. I did just go over it with some gray Minwax stain to even it out. I added 2 little lines here, and then I think I'll do one straight across. And for the design of all the suitcases, for practical reasons, I think I'm going to do 2 handles or 2 knobs on each side, just so the drawers still pull out really easily, and it'll still go with the overall suitcase effect. So once these dry, all the detail and hardware. For the dresser, all I need to do is now remove the tape and see how the legs look with this color. I think because I am keeping this drawer the gray, it's gonna really suit the piece and give it more of that moody feel. And then these colors here will kind of tie in more of that fall cozy vibe. And then I already did 3 coats of paint on this piece, so it just needs to dry. And everything is coming together. So I've been collecting a bin of random old hardware pieces that I can use for suitcase dressers because I have done a couple in the past, so I do have a little bit of a collection. So I pulled out some options for this suitcase here, and I do want to do a combination of gold and black hardware. So I want it to be an antique rusty gold. So these are already gold, and I am just going to be cleaning them up with some Barkeeper's Friend. This stuff is great just to give it that really nice shine, but also still look antique. I find if I were to spray paint them, they might not look as authentic. So I'm doing that for the gold. And then I want to use these here. They're already black, so I don't need to spray paint those. But I am going to be using these antique knobs with these little keyholes. So to spray these all black, I am going to be using some Rust-Oleum spray paint, but before I get to spray painting them, I am going to do a coat of this Bullseye shellac just to make sure nothing bleeds through, because these are super old and I'm not too sure what exactly was used on them. And then, sorry, the camera almost fell over there. To top it off, I'm going to be using some clear top coat. So let's get to spray painting these. I'm gonna let that dry and come back and do another coat. I placed the drawers back in the dresser just to kind of get an idea of how everything is gonna line up and look. I've started to add some detail here and here. I'm just kind of figuring out, because I want to make sure the piece is cohesive, but also each piece is different. So I am trying to do different designs and different suitcase styles for each drawer. So I think what I'm going to do now that will help me visualize it a lot better is line up where I'm going to be putting the hardware for each drawer. That way I can see where I need to add some more detail. I also picked up these little thumbtacks here. I thought that would be nice to even add in where I'm doing the lines and paint them the same color, or even on the edges. We'll see, but I have those as well to add a little bit of detail. So now you can see the lines are on, and I can add my hardware and little keyhole. So now I am going to add some drawer liner to these drawers. I picked up this sticky wallpaper here from Home Depot. It was $35 and it's a huge roll, so it'll last me for probably 2 to 3 projects or dressers, depending on the size of the drawers. I just went ahead and flipped this one upside down because I'm going to use the inside base here to figure out what size I need to line these drawers. So I'm just going to take my sticky wallpaper and figure out the length that I need. I'm just marking it with my finger along here and then along the back. You could also mark it with the pencil if you need to, but I was able to just kind of indent it to get my line. So now I'm just taking my craft scissors to cut the wallpaper. I like to go over the line just a little bit to be safe, to give me that little bit of extra room. And you can always use an X-Acto knife to cut the excess. So to push my wallpaper down, I'm just going to use this little scraper. You could use a drywall spackle knife, that would work as well, or a credit card, just a flat surface to kind of push it down to make sure there's no bubbles. So before I go ahead and close out today's video and share the final look of the suitcase makeover with you, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already. I will leave my Instagram down below as well, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video.